Okay, I'm going to go ahead and work through the IXLs that you have due tonight, just because I've gotten a lot of questions on them. And we're going to start with the graphing one. So for this one, remember you just have to try it for 20 minutes, actually trying it for 20 minutes, and you'll get your full credit, just because some of these get a little bit too tricky. So for this first one, we're just going to graph both of these lines. So click the one you're going to graph first. In this case, I'm going to do purple first. And we need to see what the y-intercept of this is. So if I look at this line, the y-intercept is whatever number you are adding or subtracting. So in this case, I'm subtracting 1. So that means my y-intercept is going to be at -1. Go to my y-axis, it's at -1. So I click, and that's my first point. Okay, second, I'm going to look at the slope, and the slope is the number that's in front of x. So here it would be -2. And remember, if you just have a whole number, it's really that number over 1. So if there's no number on the bottom, it's always a 1. And -2 means I go down 2. The +1 on the bottom means I go right 1. So I click, and that is my line. Now for the green one, I'm going to do the same thing. So I need my y-intercept first. In this case, it is a +2. Make sure you click the green button so it knows you're graphing your green equation. And I'm going to go find when the y is a +2. So my y-axis is a +2 right here. Then my slope is the number that is in front of x. There's not a number in front of x here, but there is a negative sign. So that really means it's a -1. If the number is missing, it's a -1. And then you divide by a +1 because there's no number. So -1 over 1. That means I'm going to start at my intercept, go down 1, right 1. Click. And then we just need our solution. So that's where these two lines meet or intersect, which would be right here. And if you see the x value of this, you go down, you can see its x value is at a -3. Then if I went to the right, you could see its y value would be at a +5. So all we're going to do is just put these in. So -3, and the y value is a +5. Then hit submit. All right, next one. We're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to start with the purple one. That means I click purple first. And my y-intercept is going to be at a -2. So right here we can see it's -2. That tells us it's -2 for the intercept. So I go to my y-axis and I click -2. Now my slope on this one again, there is no number there. So it's really a 1. Which means it's 1 over 1. So all that means I go up 1, right 1, and that is my points. Now I'm ready to graph the green line, so I click the green. And I look at the intercept. Oops, forgot to change colors. At the intercept, it's going to be a +2 here. So I go to my y-axis, up 2, and I click. And then my slope here is a 2, which means it's 2 over 1. So I'd go up 2, right 1. And then I need my solution, so that's going to be where these 2 points meet. It would be right here. And if you look, the x value is -4, and the y value is -6. So we're just going to type that in. We have -4 and -6. And that's how you do it. So that's the first one. You just have to spend 20 minutes actually trying on it. Now the second one is going to be the one where we solve using substitution. That's what we worked on Thursday and Friday. Just to load. All right, so here we have two equations. And for this first one, it gives us negative 6x minus 6y equals negative 12, and x equals negative 7. So this is one of the easy ones where it gives you half of your answers. So it tells us that x equals negative 7. So I can go ahead in the x spot, put a negative 7. Now to find y, I'm going to have to take this negative 7. And since this right here is an x, that's going to be the variable that I replace, the x. So I'm going to take the original equation, which would be negative 6x minus 6y is negative 12. And I'm going to replace that x with the negative 7. So it'd be negative 6, parentheses, negative 7, minus 6y equals negative 12. Now I just have to solve this for y. So I'm going to multiply out negative 6 and negative 7. So multiply those, you get a positive 42 minus 6y is negative 12. All right, now I'm going to subtract 42 to get the y completely by itself. So minus 42 on both sides. And you can use a calculator if you need this. You don't have to do all this in your head. So negative 12 plus 40 or minus 42 would be negative 54, which leaves us with negative 6y equals negative 54. Then to solve this for y, I just divide by a negative 6. And a negative divided by a negative would end up being y equals positive 9. Again, use a calculator to make sure you don't get it wrong just because you did the math wrong. So here we'd have a positive 9. All right, I'm going to do this one now. We have negative x minus 7y equals negative 13, and y equals 3. So again, it tells us what one of our answers is because it says y equals a number, which is 3. So go to my second box, I can go ahead and put a 3 in there. And then I'm going to take this 3, and this time, since it's y equals, that's the variable that I'm going to replace, not x again. So it'll be y this time. And I have negative x minus 7y equals negative 13. So we just take that original equation, and we're going to replace that y with a 3. So negative x minus 7 times 3 is negative 13. Then we're going to multiply out. So negative 7 times 3 would end up being negative 21. It's going to equal negative 13. Okay, then I'm going to add 21. So we have negative 13 plus 21. That's going to be a positive 8. So we have negative x equals positive 8. But we're not quite at the right answer yet because we have a negative x. And remember, this is really negative 1x. So I have to divide everything by a negative 1 here. So x would equal negative 8. And that would be our answer. So I plug in the negative 8. All right, the last type we're going to do. So notice none of our answers are given to us here. We do have to just solve the entire thing for x and y. But we just take one of these. So I'll take the top one, this 3x minus 4. And since it's y equals, that means I'm just going to replace the y. So this would become 3x minus 4 equals 7x plus 4. Now I need to solve this for x. So I can pick anything to move here. I'm just going to take this positive 3. To get rid of a positive 3, you subtract 3. And I do that to both sides. Remember, you can only subtract if they are like terms. So I would have to subtract it from the 7x. So those cancel out, and I'm left with negative 4 equals 7x minus 3x is 4x plus 4. All right, then I subtract 4 on both sides. And I get negative 8 equals 4x. Then we just divide by a 4 on both sides. So negative 8 divided by 4, that gives me negative 2 for x. So I can go ahead and put that in our first box here. Negative 2 is x. Then I just have to solve one of these for y. So what I'm going to do is take either one of these equations. I'm going to take the first one. Y equals 3x plus 4. And we just found out that x equals negative 2. So I'm going to replace the x with a negative 2. So y equals 3 times negative 2 plus 4. Then we just simplify this. So y equals 3 times negative 2 is negative 6 plus 4. Negative 6 plus 4 would be negative 2. So in this case, both of them are equal to negative 2. They will not always both be the same. Submit. Oops, I did something wrong. Oops, I used the wrong equation. See, it was supposed to be minus 4 here. My bad. I messed this up. Let's fix it really quick. This was supposed to be a minus 4, not a plus 4. So that's my bad. I'm not going to redo the whole problem, though. Just rewrite your problem correctly. So I would subtract 4 here instead of add 4. And then that would mean negative 6 minus 4 would equal negative 10. So I did everything correctly. I just rewrote the problem wrong. But that is how you would do it. And that should be all of the IXL.